July 3rd, 2020, the day that quickly became the best day of my life, the day that all of my dreams of owning a horse had finally come true. I remember it just like it was yesterday, going and riding her around those barrels and immediately falling in love with her. I knew at that moment we would be best friends forever. But little did I know that day would also lead to be the worst day of my life. After 3 months of owning Sasha, on October 30th, 2020, I was picking up my friend Micaiah from school, and we were going to a friend's house to hang out for an early Halloween celebration. So on the way to our friend's house, I get a phone call from my mother at 3:13 p.m. And as soon as she said Avery, I knew something was wrong. Her first words were, "Sasha's not getting up, and I need you to come to the barn now." So as soon as she said that, I burst into tears. Because when a horse doesn't get up typically, it means that it's a life or death situation for them. They cannot throw up, so in that case, it almost kills them immediately. So I dropped all my plans and I headed straight to the barn. And as soon as I got to the barn and saw Sasha on the ground, I knew this would be my last day that I would ever have with my best friend. I ran from my car to her, jumping over the fence, and of course in my white tennis shoes, I landed in the biggest pile of poop there could have ever been in that entire pasture. But I truly did not care at that moment. I immediately got a halter and a lead rope and started to get her up and walk her, hoping that it would help. She kept up for about 3 minutes each time, but always ended up falling to the ground. Her legs were so weak that she could not stay up for long. My parents called the vet, which sadly took him over an hour to get there. The vet got there at 7:17 p.m., and at this time, Sasha would not stay up for even 15 seconds. He checked her out and could not determine what was happening to her. After 3 hours of trying everything, he couldn't determine what was wrong still. So he gave us the option of driving to Nashville and paying $10,000 for surgery. But from Portland to Nashville is an hours-long drive, and the surgery costing $10,000, and not even a for sure 100% on if it would work or not, or if my horse would be healthy after the fact of the surgery. So, with how she could not stay up for 15 seconds and an hour's drive being a risk for her as well as the people driving the car, it was a really big risk. And at 11:07 p.m., I was given the responsibility of my best friend's fate. So, given that responsibility, I broke down for the 1,000th time that night. I thought about it for 10 minutes, which felt like an eternity. And as I was lying with Sasha, I knew it was the right time to let her go. I gave the vet the final say to end her suffering. And as I held her hand and watched him put in that needle, I made a promise to her that I would never give up on the dreams that I had planned to accomplish with her. Losing my best friend was one of the hardest things that I have ever dealt with. But what I do know is that God has a plan for why it had happened. And I believe in that. This past month, after 2 years, I have finally gotten back into riding. I'm building my confidence again. And I remembered that promise that I had made to Sasha, that I would not give up. And I'm going to remember that throughout my entire future riding career.